I know at times things don't seem right, but everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. There's no means or solutions in sight, but everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You can't see what you don't
Welcome once again. We're here with Betty and JClay. We're going to be talking about A Course in Miracles. And this time we're going to be discussing an interesting lesson, lesson 68. Can you tell us about it, Betty?
Yeah, so lesson 68 is love holds no grievances. And I think we wanted to talk about this today because lately Jay and I have come across a lot of people who are experiencing resentment and anger, frustration in their relationships, in their human experience.
Okay, lesson 68, love holds no grievances.
You who were created by love like itself can hold no grievances and know yourself. To hold a grievance is to forget who you are. To hold a grievance is to see yourself as a body. To hold a grievance is to let the ego rule your mind and to condemn the body to death. Perhaps you do not yet fully realize just what holding grievances does to your mind. It seems to split you off from your source and make you unlike him. It makes you believe that he is like what you think you have become, for no one can conceive of his creator as unlike himself.
Shut off from yourself, which remains aware of its likeness to its creator. Yourself seems to sleep, while the part of your mind that weaves illusions in its sleep appears to be awake. Can all this arise from holding grievances? Oh, yes. For he who holds grievances denies he was created by love, and his creator has become fearful to him in his dream of hate. Who can dream of hatred and not fear God?
Okay, so before we continue, I would like to know, what do you interpret as a grievance?
A grievance is any resentment, any ill feelings toward another, as far as something that someone did to you or that someone is actively doing to you. It's some kind of blame in a sense, like something that you see that someone is attacking you in some way.
Does it also include sadness or only anger?
It can include sadness in a way. What would you say, Betty?
Wow, I'm having insane deja vu right now. We've already had this conversation. Yeah, I think a grievance can be any sort of lack emotion, any experience that disconnects you from the oneness of your brother, of your fellow, anything that disconnects you from your connection to source. So if I have a problem with Jay, which I often do, hold many grievances against him, I am not seeing him as myself, or if I am, then I'm seeing myself in a state of condemnation as well.
Betty, can you continue? Read paragraph 3, please.
It is as sure that those who hold grievances will redefine God in their own image, as it is certain that God created them like himself and defined them as part of him. It is as sure that those who hold grievances will suffer guilt, as it is certain that those who forgive will find peace. It is as sure that those who hold grievances will forget who they are, as it is certain that those who forgive will remember.
Forgetting who they are is they see themselves as worthy of attack. They see themselves as ill or a victim in some way. And that's furthest away from who they truly are. And anytime you assign someone a villain in a way, a villain of your story, you weaken yourself. You don't see yourself as love anymore. You see yourself as something that's weak, something that can be attacked, something that can be hurt in some way. And that's furthest from the truth, according to Course in Miracles.
Yeah, I would also add to that holding a grievance against someone is seeing them as separate from yourself. And so that's really what the Course is teaching us, is that there is no such thing as separation. Separation is the tiny mad idea that we believe that we're in. We believe that we're separate bodies. We believe that we can have ill feelings towards others, when in real reality, in actuality, we're nothing but love and joy And so when we experience anything other than that, we're not living as God intended for us to live, according to the Course.
But how come it's so hard for us to remember that or to keep that in mind 24/7?
Because we love our we love to argue. You know, the ego, we love to strengthen our ego to reinforce our separateness. And any kind of grievances or argument or just some kind of separateness reinforces that every chance we get. So that like there's a pull. We actually think that we get something from guilting others by saying you hurt me in some way, you harmed me. We think it might lead to more love and more attention, but it as the Course pointed out, it leads to more guilt. Like we are sure to suffer guilt as long as we hold on to these ideas.
Greatest spiritual teaching in A Course in Miracles is this one line. I repeat it to myself all the time. Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And that's what I think about when I think of grievances. I think, how important is it for me to be right? And there are some situations where I absolutely demand to be told that I'm right. And I hang on to this crazy ill feeling inside my body until it manifests physically sometimes because I refuse to let go. But A Course in Miracles is teaching me that there is no such thing as grievance. This is something that I'm creating in my human experience because, like Jay just shared, I think I get something out of it. I get the opportunity to be right and righteous and everything that goes along with that.
Okay, so let's continue with paragraph 4.
All right. Would you not be willing to relinquish your grievances if you believed all this were so? Perhaps you do not think you can let your grievances go. That, however, is simply a matter of motivation. Today, we will try to find out how you would feel without them. If you succeed, even by ever so little, there will never be a problem in motivation ever again. What I like about this is it talks about like that little willingness, just changing a little. And what ends up happening in this process, if you accept it, is you're in a situation where you start to think about it. You know that, okay, I'm getting ready to please the ego right now, but I'm still going to choose to have this argument. But the fact that you pause for a second, even if you still chose your usual outcome, it shows that you can change. It shows that it is a choice and that you can change this eventually. So we should celebrate that as a win and not see it as we keep falling victim to the ego in a sense.
Okay, now,
and in a course, oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
continue.
I was just going to say, in A Course in Miracles, I love how it talks about that the minor grievance and the major grievance, there is no order in their difficulty of being able to release them. Because in A Course in Miracles, it says that there is no order in the difficulty of miracles, that everything can be considered a miracle. So it might be a lot easier for me to forgive a grievance that I perceive as small, something like someone cutting in front of me at line at like someone cutting in line at the grocery store. That's a grievance that I might easily be able to let go of and choose to be happy instead of right. Whereas somebody who sexually traumatized me in my life, that might be a major grievance that I have a harder time letting go of. But A Course in Miracles says that I don't need to distinguish the level of difficulty between these things. I can treat everything with these spiritual principles just to see how it feels. And it feels a lot better to let go.
Okay, here's a little exercise that they propose in order to let go of your grievances, right? So let's continue.
Begin today's extended practice period by searching your mind for those against whom you hold what you regard as major grievances. Some of these will be quite easy to find. Then think of seemingly minor grievances you hold against those you like and even think you love. It will quickly become apparent that there is no one against whom you do not cherish grievances of some sort. This has left you alone in all the universe in your perception of yourself.
Yeah, practically we hold grievances against everybody, even ourselves.
Oh, especially ourselves. Yeah, but when you read this and you think about who are the people that I truly love and what kind of grievances do I hold against them, I would say I probably hold more grievances against those that I love than those that I choose to not care about or even dislike.
Right, so here, let's continue with the exercise then.
All right. Determine now to see all these people as friends. Say to them all, thinking of each one in turn as you do so, I would see you as my friend, that I may remember you are part of me and come to know myself. Spend the remainder of the practice period trying to think of yourself as completely at peace with everyone and everything, safe in a world that protects you and loves you, and that you love in return. Try to feel safely surrounding you. Try to feel safety surrounding you, hovering over you and holding you up. Try to believe, however briefly, that nothing can harm you in any way. At the end of the practice period, tell yourself, love holds no grievances. When I let all my grievances go, I will know I am perfectly safe.
The short practice period should include a quick application of today's idea in this form. Whenever any thought of grievance arises against anyone, physically present or not, love holds no grievances. Let me not betray myself. In addition, repeat the idea several times an hour in this form. Love holds no grievances. I would wake to myself by laying all my grievances aside and wakening in him. So I love that in this lesson, it really talks about applying this principle all throughout the day. They really want to hammer this idea into our subconscious that love holds no grievances. And if I am love, how could I hold a grievance against someone else?
Yeah, I agree. Like what we give, we receive instantly. Like, and I always like to give the example of if you give someone a compliment, you'll see the reaction on their face. That smile will be returned to you in that good energy. But if you scolded someone or gave someone a complaint, you will receive that just as instantly. Like their face might scrunch up. They might say something bad about you in return. And holding a grievance is no different. Like there's a lot of unspokenness that we can all feel that we don't even realize we feel. And when we truly let someone go, I mean, not let someone go, if we truly let a grievance go, even if that person is not in front of us, they can feel that from miles and miles away, and your relationship can be healed from that moment on.
I also think that there's something to be said about the aspect of being a pushover, like how Jay was saying, well, you could just totally let it go. Somebody cuts you off, somebody cuts you in line. You could just all the way let it go. And I think that there's a distinction between being a pushover and holding a grievance. So I think that I love Jay's example of everything I give, I receive, which is another really important principle in A Course in Miracles. And I love how this lesson helps us rescope what's the narrative around holding a grievance? What am I getting out of it? How is this adding to my life to be able to holding this grievance? I think Confucius has a quote that's very famous that resentment is like you drinking poison, waiting for the other person to die. Doesn't do anything to hold a grievance against another person to that person. The only thing that it's affecting is you. And if you want to have a life that's led by joy, holding grievances can't be part of that experience.
Right. So for those who may not know it, JClay is also known as the spiritual rapper. So let's hear one of his songs. What are you going to share today, Jay?
I'm going to share a song called Everything Gonna Be All Right. And how it relates to this is the reason, I mean, again, we hold grievances because we feel that it's not going to be all right. Like if this person did this and it messed everything up, and we honestly don't know. So I wanted to share a song about that.
Yeah. Hey, I know at times things don't seem right, but everything gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. There's no means or solutions in sight, but everything gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You can't see, but you don't need that sight to see things gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You've been in worse before and always made it work before, but we can make it alright. Yeah. Let me tell you about this power that you got. You can turn grass to flowers or just weeding it or not. Or you can see the reasons for the weeds and ease them in the crop. So you can make yourself believe the unbelievable, the fraud. Hey, I'm not saying appreciate the unappreciated. Just appreciate the stuff you've been appreciating. Now they values increased. It matters not the other areas that it has ceased. Cause if you treasured them, you couldn't recognize the least. You would only see the more. You would only see a more. You would only see the Lord's glory, not what is gory. He said everything's good, but you teach another story. So how them lessons going for you? Only teach what you will learn, so I'm learning for you. Yeah, you the only one that's burning for you, thinking that you lost your soul. Well, I return it for you. Hey, I know at times things don't seem right, but everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. There's no means or solutions in sight, but everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You can't see, but you don't need that sight to see things gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You've been in worse before and always made it work before, but we can make it alright. Yeah. We just had this conversation. You say you wanna change, but you won't change your station. Yeah. I think you love your situation, cause you light up in amazement when you speak about frustration. You've given so much purpose to it. Probably don't respect the artist if no pain is in the music. It's even in the language that you're using, like hit me back is killing me, I can't win for losing. Hey, the struggle is real cause you made it. Juggling ill and ill-fated. It's all what you will. What's real, take it as a lesson, learn a blessing, a testament that you can change it at any moment. Atonement is an omen and an open invitation to be home, not homeless. And not the type that's owned by owners, but what the tree of life was formerly known as. Well, yeah, I know at times things don't seem right, but everything gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. There's no means or solutions in sight, but everything gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You can't see, but you don't need that sight to see things gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You've been in worse before and always made it work before, but we can make it alright. Yeah. It's all in what you will. It's all in what you say to yourself, what you believe, what you say to others. Just remind each other that it's always gonna be alright, and you will start to see examples of it. You will see the witnesses to it, and then things will be alright. You will notice.
JClay, that was great. Yeah, the lyrics are also inspiring.
Thank
you.
So
Yeah, I just want to add to Jay's song. I love at the end how he kind of, teaches us that if we continue to uplift each other, we'll see more evidence of upliftment and we'll be surrounded by more of that. And that's exactly what this lesson is saying too. So yeah, that was a beautiful way to bring it all together. Thanks, Jay.
yeah, I really like the practical application of this lesson. Lesson 68. Love holds no grievances. So I'll see you guys next time with another lesson, right? And with another song.
I got you.
So it was nice having you, and I think we'll pick out a new topic and we'll be back soon.
I know at times things don't seem right, but everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. There's no means or solutions in sight, but everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You can't see, but you don't need that sight to see things gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. You've been in worse before and always made it work before, but we can make it alright.